CountryWide Connect with Andy Thompson and Sarah Perriam-Lampp.
Mark Simpson, General Manager for Sales for Dairyworks. The topic is there has been some imported butter, and we know imported butter has been in the New Zealand supermarkets for a wee while, but it was packaged in the country of origin. I think it was the Danish butter. This is a little bit different, that this is American butter that is coming in and then repackaged into New Zealand. Mark, g'day mate, welcome to the show. Why import butter then like this into New Zealand? What's the idea behind that?
Yeah, g'day. Great question. So I think what we've seen over recent months or even recent years is a really strong global price for New Zealand butter, right? So we're exporting record amounts of butter overseas and commanding a really healthy premium for that. What that's meant for the Kiwi consumer at home is that the cost of butter in the supermarket shelves is a little higher than it probably has been historically. And with that, we've seen consumers who are exiting the category. So who, just saying it's just too expensive for me. I'm either not going to buy butter or I'm going to buy margarine or I'll make do without. And so with our retail partners, they said, is there an opportunity to offer some value? And just to be clear, we're a big supplier of New Zealand dairy into the New Zealand dairy or into the New Zealand supermarket offer. However, when this opportunity presented itself, we looked all over the world and said, what can we do? US butter is particularly cheap at the moment, just given some of the market dynamics there, with a lot of milk being produced and only so much being consumed. They're now a bigger exporter of butter than they have been historically, and that price made sense to get it from the US, put it on a boat, bring it down here to New Zealand, and pack it before we put it on supermarket shelves.
So is it effectively then just like a margin play?
It's absolutely not a margin play. It's about making an offer accessible for consumers at a price point that brings them back into the category.
I understand where you're coming from, and taking my thoughts and opinions there, opening Mark, with a grain of salt, because at the end of the day, consumers have a choice and they can choose where they want to source their butter from. Worry I have is with our booming tourism into New Zealand, I would be really upset to eat an imported croissant from Chile in France, because it was cheaper for the restaurant to import it. And they would as a food producing in Europe, we go there for the food provenance. What do you believe this would continue to grow in regards to that inequity of consumption of our high quality product here?
I think as a tourist coming into New Zealand, you're still going to choose to buy a Kiwi product. You're here to experience the best we have to offer, including our food. So that's probably the first point. I think secondly, though, consumers do need choice at the moment. Cost of living crisis, pressure on household incomes, et cetera, et cetera. And so as a supplier, our role is to offer that choice to them, given the economic times, ultimately.
One of the criticisms, though, of the Dairyworks product is that it looks very much like New Zealand butter. It's packaged, in fact, it does say on the packaging, American butter packaged in, or sourced from America, packaged in New Zealand. But as I referenced in the intro, the Danish butter, I think it's a Danish butter, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but sure, it's pretty obvious that it's imported butter from Denmark.
This actually says produced by Dairyworks, Hornby, Christchurch. There's no relevance on here to America.
Packaged in New Zealand from imported USA
small.
Butter. Yeah,
Sorry.
it is. But that's
confusing.
Is that a bit of a risk? I mean, that's obviously deliberate marketing structure.
It meets all New Zealand labelling standards. That's probably the first point. This is the
whole point.
Yeah.
New Zealand labelling standards are not good enough.
Yeah, which is a separate debate, which I'll let the government figure out. But for us, we have to meet those food standards. We have to meet those labelling requirements, and that's what we've done. And it's ultimately the consumer who will decide. And we brought this in as a trial, 8 weeks ago. It's gone pretty well. I suspect that's why we're talking about it, which is a good thing for the consumer as well. And whether we do it again, we'll see based on whether it can make sense in the future.
Do you have any idea of the. I mean, you got it there in the what in the kilo block, not kilo blocks, but in the for the 500 grams, is it? Butter.
Yeah,
Shows how often I buy butter at the supermarket. I know this is terrible, but
You and Chris Luxon.
I'll stop it. Don't even ask me how much it costs. Sorry, Mark. Are you selling it though in bulk for, say, for bakeries or for food producers?
We do have some available for bakery as well. So for similar reasons, right? Cost equation is having people buy more margarine, buy more butter than margarine a good thing for the industry. I think so, and so we want to keep consumers in dairy ultimately.
But then that comes back to Sarah's point. Someone buying a scone at the local bakery is not going to find out, or whatever they're buying, they're not going to know it was from imported butter.
No, but it'd be a similar case on any other ingredients in the store, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Will this significantly change the profitability outlook for Dairyworks and ultimately Synlait?
No, I mean, we bought this in to sell a couple months worth of butter as a trial, and that's what we've achieved ultimately in bringing it in and selling it through. The total impact on the bottom line isn't material, but it is important that we keep consumers buying butter ultimately.
So you said that it's gone quite well. Obviously, there's a bit of media discussion about it. What's the response been from the consumers, from the customers?
So the interesting thing is we bought this in at a time where the category was going backwards 10 or 20%. So, a lot of people exiting it. Of the people who bought the product, 50% of them are consumers who had exited the category who are now back in butter. So for me, that's a good thing. And if they then decide that they're going to spend a little bit more and buy some New Zealand butter, great. That is the ultimate for all of us. So that's been really important. And then, I think we've had it in something like 200,000 households. There's a lot of Kiwi households who have trialled it. And there's feedback, good, bad, or indifferent. But that was the purpose. We wanted that feedback, and that'll give us a steer on whether it's something we should do again.
Thank you so much. Mark, I know that you'll probably be utilising New Zealand butter on your cheese rolls, though, this winter still.
I love both. I'll
you?
mix and match. I do.
Okay.
I think there's a use for both. I prefer the US butter on my baking, and I prefer Kiwi butter on my toast. And so you just want to be able to mix it up a wee bit.
Interesting you say that, because I have a friend that owns a bakery here in Canterbury, farmers, that were disgusted at the fact that there was oil in the pies, and they went back to New Zealand butter, and the pastry in the pie is just beautiful. So, I mean, that is oil, but if if you're doing things en masse, and baking uses a lot of butter.
Absolutely.
It certainly does. I haven't tried it. I might have to go and find some and try it. So I haven't.
If you can't find any, because it has sold out of a lot of stores, please let me know, and we'll make sure we get some to you guys.
Okay, thank you. We're going to have a taste off
Yeah.
of American versus New Zealand dairy butter here in CountryWide Connect. We'll get some cheese rolls, and we'll see if we can taste the difference.
And we'll make it. I was going to say it would have to be West Gold, but we are talking Synlait here, so we've got to.
Wash your mouth out.
Oh, well, no, but we'll have to do it. We'll have to do a comparison, with the Dairyworks, New Zealand butter, Dairyworks, American butter.
Yeah, amazing. Hey, thank you so much, Mark, for coming on the show. We really appreciate your time. That's Mark Simpson from Dairyworks.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, mate.
CountryWide Connect with Andy Thompson and Sarah Perriam-Lampp.